Are you? So you're turning her volume, and you're asking her if she can hear it, and in reality, there's nothing happening. Yeah, that's not his Skype. That's totally not.
Okay,
his
let
Skype.
me hold on.
Which is fine. We don't need to talk to him.
I'll get him right now.
All right, I'll start recording this too. Why not? Who comes in here and changes the way that things are set up? Because I'm telling you. And why do we have this elevation burger mug?
Because I have not
cup?
washed the other mugs. They're not clean. You are a beefy.
I'm a beefy.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either. Did you
tweet it out? Yes.
Did you do? No, I wasn't going to ask that. Did you do the due diligence that I asked you to do yesterday? Was that completed? The task? Doing research?
Oh, no, it was not completed.
Professors.
But it can be completed in the first few seconds.
Okay. So like when you were in college and you would hand in a thing and the teacher would say, well, but this is late. And you say, right, but it's done.
Right, you get, I think it was 20 points off.
20 points off.
Yeah.
I will give you...
Start with a 70. Woohoo!
I will give you 20 points
80?
off.
Ugh. See, I told you. Yeah.
All right. I'm retweeting Jim Dalrymple's thing. I'm going to be on... Well, I'll save it for the show, but I'm going to be on Amplified. For some reason, he wants me on Amplified. I don't know why. I'm still loving this shot. And see, now I get to look at our intern.
Yep.
At the our famous new intern. We have a famous intern.
She's
Did you know
famous.
that? She will be by the end of today. All right. And we still don't have Victor's Skype.
Hold on, I'm in chat with him right now.
Go off mic when you tell it to me, or are you going to type it really big in a notepad thing?
I will have to carry this over here.
Don't let the camera see his secret Skype. What?
Well, that's his name.
Oh, that's a J.
Yes.
Not an I. All right. That's not what you put in the document.
I copied and pasted.
That's not in the document. I'm telling you, it's not in the document. Oh, I guess it is. Oops. Okay. The
font was wrong.
Mac OS's little squiggly red lines
it took the bottom
make
of the
J
off.
look like an I. So
I can see that.
All right. Well, I've got his contact request, so we'll get him. We'll get him eventually. All right. I'm ready to start this. Now you got to keep me on track.
And you have your sponsors.
I got sponsors.
Good.
You got to keep me on track today.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I can see now. I put and keep the initial volume. The initial volume. 110. And I've got to go next door into Merlin at 2. So this is definitely going to be a shorter show. Okay. Got our intern, though, but I feel good about that. All right. What is it today? Tuesday?
Yes.
March 24th. See, I'm supposed to get my YouTube thing today. We'll talk about that, too. I don't want to talk about it. Someone will steal it, jerks. Okay. Are you ready?
I am.
Worried? This is the Dan Benjamin Hour for March 24th, 2015. It is a Tuesday here in kind of sunny Austin, Texas. I'm very excited to be here today because I have I'm going to be complaining about so many things today. I think I'm going to harness grit a little bit today.
That's good.
What's up there that you keep?
No, I was looking at your shot. I think
the glare is better. Yeah, turn the lights on. Why not turn the lights on? Producer. Produce. I think it's better. Yeah, it looks a little bit. I'm still getting. Do you see the glare? It's right here. It's on this one. The glare's on this. What is that from?
Is it from the window or is it from your screen?
It's from there. See, because I can block it like that.
You could just
for listeners at home. We're dealing with glare on our video set, and we have an intern who's sitting in. She's not going to be on camera or even speaking today because they don't get to speak for a while anymore. I've learned my lesson. Right? I let you speak way too early.
Yep.
You just started taking over shows. Show. Yeah, now you're on the show. You take over the show. That's why I had to stop Grit because you took it over too much.
Took over the show. Yeah.
But anyway, so we have an intern. She shall remain nameless. We'll just call her intern. You know what we could do? We could come up with how James Bond they don't use a person's name. It's M or Q.
I like that a lot.
M. We have M.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. And she can stay anonymous for a little while. But interns are great because they do the dishes, they clean up, and
They
then
make our lives a billion% better.
easier. Yeah. So I've got a lot to complain about. We've got 2 sponsors that I'll be telling you about later. It's Linda and 5-4 Club, best sponsors in the world for the best show in the world. And I went and put the Ghostbusters up on top of the Tower of Power. So I'm very excited about that. And I would like to start off the show by, because I don't really, there's some days, Hattie, I don't know if you've noticed this on the internet, but and not every single day, there's not always a ton of news. And I go to the different sites and I look at their stuff and I say, what am I going to talk about today? Oh, Facebook is testing a new format for hosting publisher content. That's so boring. Like, it's just, that's not that interesting to me. You know, there's just no news today, but that's all right. Because all people care about right now is the new trackpad on the MacBook rather. That's it. That's all anyone's talking about on the internet. If you Google important news of the day, that's all you're going to see is people who walk into the Apple store and they press their finger on the little trackpad and that's it. That's all they care about. That's all that's on the internet right now. So to do that, I brought an Apple focused correspondent on the show today. He'll be on the show, Victor Agreda Jr. Is it Agreda or Agreda? We're going to have him straighten us out.
Yes.
If he says it wrong, he won't be invited back on the show. So anyway, he'll be on to talk just about trackpads. That's all we're going to keep it focused in. But he'll be here later. He is we're going to talk about TWA and the what that means. So, but before we do that, so I have some things I want to talk about. First of all, I have 2 things I want to talk about. The first one, and did I tell you Nilai's going to be here tomorrow? Nilai Patel. Did I tell you
this show?
Shlok was booked, but screw him.
Right.
We've got Victor Agreda Jr. coming. I mean, no, he's today. Nilai Patel of The Verge.
Is he on the calendar? Did you put him on the calendar?
I didn't put him on the calendar. I haven't even told him what time it is. And there's the guy who did an app called Layout. There's an app called Layout before Instagram's Layout. He'll be on the show. I think he may be on the show tomorrow too.
Oh man, it's gonna be a full show.
How come I'm booking guests for this and you're supposed to be producing this?
I know I am. So is Greg.
Do you see how I'm switching the shots when different people talk? I'm not, I'm distracted though. But anyway, she'll get it. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm saying is we've got a jam-packed week. This is going to be a crazy week. Now, Em, if you can see a better way to do this where we can eliminate the glare, whatever, I mean,
help us out.
Help us out. She's nodding. So last night, let me just ease you guys into this story like a gentleman. Last night, my wife had left for me because I keep my bag. I'm like a Merlin Mann disciple. I keep my bag right next to the door, next to the front door, the garage door rather, on the little counter that's right there in the kitchen. And she put stuff that's important for me to see right on the bag. That makes sense. I won't miss it if it's on my stuff. And on this, it has a Time Warner Cable bill. Are they a sponsor? Hattie, is Time Warner Cable a sponsor?
They're definitely not a sponsor.
Okay. On there, she puts lays it right down on top and has it in red, like as if it was a teacher grading my paper, giving me an F again. She has circled on. I like you so much better when you're not doing emails on the show. Thank you. I know it's a big commitment for you to be here 5 days a week, but I appreciate that. She puts it right there and circled the total amount, $240 a month we're spending on cable. And she writes next to it, please call. Because this is too much money to be spending on essentially content we don't really use. We use the internet, but we're paying for all this crap. Time Warner Cable, shame on you. I hope you're listening. Because this is the story. So I call up Time Warner Cable. Maybe not shame on them. Well, you'll see. You be the judge. I call them up and I said, listen, I feel like I'm not using all the services. I want to cancel all the movie channels except HBO. That's the only one I care about. I don't need Showtime until Homeland comes back. Yeah. And I don't even know if I'm in for the next season or not. I don't know if I'm in for it.
I am. I hope it's just all Quinn going rogue. That's all I want.
He's pretty cool. I would watch a show called Quinn.
Quinn, yeah.
Dr. Quinn, Medicine Man.
Well, you've
because
changed
he's a man.
Well, that's true.
So I would. So in the meantime, I say, forget it. I'm getting rid of all this nonsense, and I'm going to get rid of this. And we're being charged for this whole house DVR. So you record one thing in one room, you watch in the other room, which seems basic. But anyway, I call up, I cancel, and the lady first. This is a tactic they use. Oh well, you're in really the best bundle I can find for you, Mr. Benjamin. You're really there really isn't much more we can do for you. This is not. There just isn't anything more we can do. You're in the best bundle. Do you use the internet? Yes, I use the internet. Yes, I use the internet.
Sometimes.
Well, then you're in the best thing that we can do. I said, well, okay, I'm going to be canceling the service. Oh, hold on. Put you on hold.
Come up.
Something I just found a code that might work for you. Mr. Benjamin, please hold. Comes back on. And well, guess what? I see your signature home member, which basically means I get like a dedicated phone number that I can call. And it's not quite as cool as George Clooney's phone number in Up in the Air, where it's like answering that they know it's him. Not quite that cool. But supposedly you get a little bit better service, which I've never seen. But because whenever you call, Hattie, they're out the same day to your house.
Yep.
Oh, I have a problem with my cable. They're out the next day. Meanwhile, at me in my house paying for signature. Weeks go by before they come.
I'm probably paying as much as you are. Unfortunately.
So we'll fix that.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe we should fix that on the air.
Please.
Anyway, she comes back and she says, well, if you don't want the signature home, we can leave everything else the same. It'll save you $100. So now I'm paying $100 a month less. I'm paying $130
just not
for the
signature?
internet and everything else. Yeah, not signature. Now this is the weird part of it, though. I have to call back in 12 months to haggle with them again because it's a promotion. A secret promotion that she found. As soon as I hang up the phone with her, is there anything else I can help you with, Mr. Benjamin? Well, if you get a call back, please be sure to give us a 5 out of 5 rating. Oh, okay. Hang up the phone instantly. And I'm sitting here because remember how we had a late day yesterday? Do you remember that?
Yes.
We had a late day yesterday. And I'm saying, you know what? I'll just edit the show at home. I'm starting to upload it, and I see there's no connection timeout. I could just open a page to look at Google, nothing. Apple, nothing. IBM, nothing. Those are my go-tos. And I walk in and I look, the cable lights are out. I'm like, great, she screwed it up. So I call up, get back on hold, go through the queue again, type in the thing, get to the billing and support, go through another 20 minutes on the phone with these people. Only to find out, oh yeah, it looks like your internet was disconnected. It's turned off. I'm like, really? Why?
Thanks.
Well, I'm going to send your modem a reset. Can you hold? I hold for another 10 minutes. He comes back. What modem do you have? Like, I see 2 on your account. I'm like, no, there's just one. What model number is it? And I tell him, okay, hold on. Comes back. Well, it looks like there's a problem with the codes that were used, but I think I'm going to be... Now, the guy was wonderful. He was very knowledgeable. He had great support. He fixed everything. Everything went fine. He's like, well, speedy. I see that you're on the mid-tier for internet speeds, just so that you know that. I'm like, no, I'm on the top tier. I've always been on the top tier because you can have my internet when you pry it from my cold, dead fingers. Thank you very much, title. That means you would make a note for that as a title of the show.
Or you submit it.
A title, or you submit it. She doesn't have a computer.
She will soon.
She's just sitting.
She's enjoying.
So... I'm like, no, I'm on the top tier. You got to put it back to the top tier. It's like, oh, well, that's, I don't know. So he finally fixes it. But this is going on now. It's 9:30 at night. I've been on the phone with them since, just after 8. It's like they punish you.
Yeah.
So Grande Communications tweeted me. So, okay, but this gets weirder. Let me lead up to that. This gets weirder.
You're in a cable war.
At this point, I tweet. I think it was even like last night. I tweeted. I said something along the lines of like, "Thanks, Time Warner Cable, for disconnecting my internet after I called to cancel Showtime." Basically, and in the middle of the night, I get 4 hours later or something. I get a tweet from Time Warner Cable help. We just rebooted your modem for you. This is hours after I've gone to bed. we just rebooted your modem for you. We don't see a problem with the connection. And then a direct message from them because I follow them.
Oh.
Can you please verify the service address? It's just, I don't want my modem reset. That's not helping. It's weird to me. It's just weird to me. I guess they're helping 4 hours later by rebooting my modem in the night. Title. But then I get a tweet from Grande Communications. And they're like, contact us. So Hattie, I want you to get on this. Land them as a sponsor. Make a note.
Grande?
Yeah. I think I'm saying it
I don't get Grande or
I don't think I get that
AT&T.
either.
The only thing that goes to my apartment is Time Warner. I have no choice.
Brilliant. Look at you alone at that table.
Just me and my
It's
phone.
a big table. We're going to have some in-house guests this week, I think.
Really?
I think so. On Friday, we might be doing something new. I got to get Victor on here. I got to do a spot. I got to talk about some other things. But first, let me tell you about Linda. Linda is a great company. First of all, Linda was started by a real person. You know how they say Wendy is a real person, and then they keep changing actresses on TV? I have a feeling that's not the real Wendy. But Linda is a real person.
Yes.
You know what? I think they're going to have to run with this. It's just an idea. Linda, Lynda, lynda.com, and their subtitle could just be a real person.
Or just real people.
Ooh. That was a bad TV show.
Oh.
This episode is brought to you by Lynda. It's an online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses that help you strengthen your business. Now, I'm dropping a marker, and what that means is after the show, you're going to go back in and find the spot. You'll put it in our advertiser portal, so when Linda logs in, they'll be able to hear their spot. This is in their middle of their spot, but we'll edit this out in post. Lynda.com. Go there. 3,000 things. You want to build a website? You know what they have now? How do they have a tactic negotiation video?
What?
So that you can negotiate. But you know what you need to do? I think you need to use the power of Linda against Linda.
Oh.
Listen to what I'm saying. Because we have an account, a Linda account here. Go log in and watch the negotiation tactics video on Linda, and then use those tactics on Linda to get them to buy more of this show.
Okay.
Okay.
And
we'll
you know
see
what?
if it works.
If it works, right, then we know.
Now, I guarantee it will work because Linda gets the best people in the business to create these courses. And you're going to get a free 10-day trial if you go to Lynda, Lynda, lynda.com/DBH. That supports the show. Just visiting the URL supports the show. But this is for people who are problem solvers. You want to learn how to go paperless. You want Excel 2013 power shortcuts up and running with IF. It's just 3 T's I found out. IFTTT.
Oh, because it's
getting things done. And they got David Allen to do the getting things done. Anyway, what more can I say about Linda? It's the best way to learn. Adobe Premiere is what I'm learning right there. And I learned Final Cut Pro with this, and now I'm learning Adobe Premiere. And Adobe Premiere seems really great. You download these videos to your iOS or Android device. Take them with you. Watch them anywhere. And during that 10-day free trial I told you about, you will have access to every single solitary video that's there, all 3,000. You watch as many or as few as you want. Thanks very much to Linda, Lynda, lynda.com, for supporting this show. Go there and check it out.
Someone in the chat room said Linception.
Linception type.
Yeah.
That would be. That would be an inception. So the resolution, of course, is after spending all that time on the phone with them, the internet comes back and I saved $100 a month. That's worth it for the next 12 months. It's a 12-month promotion that I'm getting. So I'm happy about that. But the pain, it shouldn't be like that.
It is. It's painful.
It's painful. That's what they call it, a painful process. And now I know that I'm going to run out of this promotion after a year.
And you're going to forget.
I'm going to forget about it. So that's the first thing I'm going to complain about. Then I'm going to complain about something else. Then I'm going to get Victor. But I have a little announcement to make. My friend Jim Dalrymple, he writes at a little website called The Little Website That Could. But he has a different name for it. He calls it The Loop. Mm-hmm. It's over at loopinsight.com. Loopinsight.com. And for a couple hundred episodes, how many episodes, Hattie, have we done with Amplified here?
Oh my gosh, I believe we're into the hundreds.
Yeah.
Or maybe 200s even.
Yeah.
I need to check.
Well, I hosted the show with him for a long time and enjoyed every single episode of it. And as I got busier working on this show and some other shows that we're still working on, I said, listen, I've got to take a hiatus from hosting the show. I need a little bit more time. And we found some guy on the street he had a good voice, and he didn't know much about technology or computers or anything, but he had such a good voice. So I sat down with him for an afternoon. And I said, let me show you how to work a computer. I'll talk to you about a phone. This is what a mouse does. And he said, I don't see a wire between the mouse and the computer.
How does it know?
How does it know what you're doing? How did that work? How do it work? But anyway, we got him up to speed, and so he's been hosting the show with he goes by
132 episodes.
Sean King.
Yep.
But now he's up to speed. He knows how to work a computer as good as most people, even high school students.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it. In all seriousness, he does a fantastic job. But Jim said, Dan, I would like to do a special show with just you and me again, just like bring the band, get the band back together for an episode. And I said, sure. So I'm relieving Sean King and Mark. Who's the other guy?
Dave
Mark Maron. Mark Maron.
Dave Mark Maron. That's his full name.
So he's going to be, they're going to be taking a day off tomorrow, and I'm going to be on that. So if you want to hear me take over Amplified again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, yes. 12 p.m. Eastern time. You see, I always list Central first because it's better.
Central. It's Central. It's Central.
Well, what he's covering right now on the Loop is the indie developer right there. Instagram and an upset indie dev. Today, Instagram announced an app called Layout from Instagram. It's described as a new app that lets you easily combine multiple photos into a single image. Well, and this is written by Mike Swanson of the...
Not Ron Swanson.
Not Ron Swanson, but the people who do is it the meat or whatever? The Swanson... what do they do? The Swanson, like, frozen patties?
Oh, the Swanson home patties? Meals, right? And it's the Swanson truck and
frozen
dinners. Frozen dinners.
Frozen dinners. You're talking Swanson, not Schwans.
Oh, I'm thinking.
You're thinking of Schwans that drive the truck around.
Yeah, I never had that.
Well, anyway, Mike Swanson, the truck driver, has this company called Juicy Bits, which seems dirty.
It does. It sounds a little bit dirty.
And he does that, and he writes code while he's driving his truck around delivering frozen goods.
Dirty things.
He had an app called Layout, and it was an editor's choice app called Layout that let you combine multiple photos into a single image, but not Instagram. It wasn't. He did this years ago, and you remember that Facebook's Paper was released well after Paper by 53 came out. So he's going through this again. So he's going to be on the show tomorrow to talk about his plight. But these are the kind of great stories that Jim covers over at the Loop. And the Sweet Setup. You know that site?
I do know that site. That setup.
Well, Joe Coyote, wrote a really nice piece on their favorite OS X launcher, Alfred, which is also my favorite OS X launcher.
I like that one too.
But did you ever buy the power pack for this?
I don't think so.
There is a power pack that gives you really cool things. It gives you Dropbox Sync, Quick Look, 1Password integration, so you can it'll do the password filling in. But you can, even without the power pack on there, you can do really cool things. Like you start typing in Alfred, you do Command Space. That's what I use. And I turn off the spotlight one. But look at this example if you're watching at home, kids. You can type in YouTube space and then the search term, and it'll search YouTube right from the launcher. Like tons of stuff like that is just built in. You can do math in there. There's dictionary lookup. If you don't know about this.
I think you can also search in your contacts too, right?
Oh, yeah, you can do all that. It's got clipboard snippets, tons of stuff. They've got workflows in there. It's nuts, madness you can do with that. So I guess we should be can you add these things to the link, or you just go on the Loop and add his first 10 links on the show, and that'll be the notes. So here's the second thing. That this is even more outrageous. You guys were listening to me talk about this before the show started, because I was just on the phone with these people. I don't know. Okay, listen. It sounds really like Richie to say we have like cleaning service. We don't have it's not like a live-in housekeeper.
Right, you don't have a housekeeper. You've signed up for a service that comes by
So listen, I've got 2 kids, and you have 2 kids. You need help cleaning. That's all there is to it. So once every 2 weeks, we have people come in and they clean the house. I don't know how much this costs. I don't care how much it costs. It's so much peace of mind for my entire family to just to have someone come in and clean. That's not my wife having to do it. Or me. You don't want to see. When I clean, it's one of two things. It's either, crap, it's done. They're just whatever. And push it in the cabinet and shut the door. Or it's like full-on Hughes, OCD,
Takes 10
organized,
hours.
cleaning, wiping everything, using paddles, everything. So you know about the paddles, right?
Like you just cover your hands.
You don't know a paddle. Well, usually it's some kind of, it's like paper towels or he would use tissues. And he calls them paddles, and it need to be the right kind of tissue. Yeah. But you use enough tissues, and then you don't want to touch anything directly with your hands.
What about glove?
No, you use paddles because they're disposable. You use a paddle, you pick up the mouse,
gloves are also
and then you
disposable.
throw it away. But you got to put them on and take them off. I'm going to use a different paddle for this mouse than I'm going to use for this mouse.
Oh, just paddles. He's not cleaning with the paddles.
No, he's not. He's
Those
using them
for
so that he doesn't for touching.
Oh, I see.
So that you don't have to come in contact with anything. If you have to touch a doorknob, you might use three paddles for the doorknob.
He would not do well during this day and age because everything's touch screen.
Touch screen.
Yeah.
I don't want touch screen. So anyway, so I'm super OCD or I don't care. That's just the way it works. But you get these people, they come in, they clean the whole house. And it's fine. It's great. They come in, they clean, and the house looks great. But I told, we have kids to get to school, and when the people come to the house, we tell them, get there at 9. And for, 2 years, they've gotten there at 9. Every time, get there at 9. All of a sudden, now they've got a new crew. They come out, and they're there at 8:15. That's not all right. That's not what we signed up for. It's not what we signed on for, is not to have them come at 8:15. We got kids that have to get ready and get to school, and they show up at 8:15 all of a sudden. The house is not ready for them. We're not ready for them. We want to get there and be out. Oh, I almost caught you that time.
You'll never catch me
I did. If you ever, listen,
never.
The first person who sees Hattie yawning and can tell me the right time code, Hattie, what will they win?
This magnet.
What magnet is that for the people who are just listening?
This is a bacon method magnet, and it has the instructions to make perfect bacon.
Perfect bacon on it. They will receive that. If you catch her yawning and tweet me the time code.
Not this specific one because this one's kind of
Dan Benjamin. Tweet me that. Yeah, they called me back while I was doing the show.
Oh, you should have answered right on the show.
Yeah, I used to do that. I do that on Grit, but on this show I won't do it.
No.
Anyway, they show up and then they call. Apparently, they call my wife and they tell her, "Listen, we were told, apparently by me, that they didn't want me to come early. They didn't want to come early, so now they're going to push it out another 2 weeks. That's 4 weeks that either we're going to have to clean or the house is not going to get cleaned. No, it's not okay. What is with the guy? Was very nice on the phone. I'm not going to tell who the company is because I like them. I want to stay with them. Unlike Time Warner Cable, who's got me shackled. Title. All right, I think it's time to get Victor. We should make Victor do the 5-4 club spot.
I wonder if he's signed up. Signed up for.
Is he
them.
shined? Is he
I
shined?
was typing the word shackles.
Is he shined up for the service? Oh, he's ready. Get him on here. Victor.
Hello.
Hi, Victor. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We were wondering, is it Agreda or Agreda, the junior?
It's Agreda.
Agreda. See, I was right the first time.
Greta.
Like Hansel and Agreda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Victor, we've hung out. We've hung out in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
I think so.
I've been following what you've been up to. And one of the things that you've been up to is this angry dad thing. I would really like to hear about that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's a whole wind of live streaming that's been sweeping the nation, of course, with Meerkat and a few other little apps that people haven't heard of. But Twitch has been around actually for a while. And of course, Twitch, there's Justin TV, which Twitch pivoted into, Justin TV, and then it pivoted into Twitch.
Right.
And then Amazon bought them. And Twitch is really about video games and people playing video games live. And they comment on them, but it's really about the interaction with people who are watching people play video games, which I found really interesting. And I have sort of been, I want to say, a closeted gamer for a long time. Being a Mac guy my whole life, it's difficult. It's like very challenging to find video games that I could play. So I was largely a console person.
Right.
But you know, with kids and whatnot, you can't just buy every console every year. So I've struggled for many years wanting to play certain games and I couldn't play them. So this is kind of a great, let's say, yeah, it's an excuse,
Right.
right, to play games, and watch and let people watch them. But also, I have a passion for the design of games, and I actually taught game design for a little bit. So this is a way for me to look at them also critically and try to bring some sort of analysis to, you know, what people are doing out there. It's funny, a lot of people, it's sort of like if you watch enough movies with DVDs, I saw people watching extra features and people learned a little bit about the filmmaking process. People have learned about game design. You have level editors and what we would call amateurs, you know, building levels that are just as amazing as the levels that the companies put out. So I find all of this really, really interesting. So angrydadgamer.com is where we are trying to sort of collate all of these crazy experiences playing video games. And what I'm actually doing is bringing people into a studio that are comics, they're musicians, other artists, and they play video games, and we get these big reactions, and it's just a lot of fun.
Well, that's really cool. I'm really excited about this. And you were the other day we were trying to chat about some secret ideas, secret plans, and you said, well, I'm running Conduit in my backyard for something. What was going on what are you doing back in there?
Oh, I'm running it through the house. You know, they bring cable into whatever corner of your house that they want to, right? So I've had to bring the actual physical line all the way to the other end of my house. And my house is one story, but it's very long. So literally stringing it from one end of the house to the other, because if you're going to do this kind of thing, you want to make sure that you're not doing it wirelessly. I mean,
Right.
wireless is great,
Oh, you
but
gotta be
it's just
wired.
not reliable.
No, you've got to be wired.
Yeah.
So you go on this thing and you play games, and you've got Sam Donnelly playing some retro games. Was that yesterday's or today's?
That's tonight.
That's
actually,
tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. So you go and you get comedians, you get musicians, you get game designers, people like you. You do a lot of different things though, and I mean so many different things. You play the games, but you, as you mentioned, you taught games. You are you're a writer, but that kind of leads me into the TWA, the unofficial Apple weblog story.
Mm-hmm.
And you were there for a while, and now you're free.
Yeah,
you're in the world now. You're your own man again. So what has it been like going from that, where you were working pretty hard at that, to now kind of jumping into some new stuff? What's been going on with you?
It's a totally crazy thing, because this is not something that I was well known for, right? So, you know, you spend time. I was at TUA for a little over 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, really with AOL for like 8.5 years. But I started very early with TUA, and I was actually teaching game design at the time at a for-profit school that's here local. And, you know, I've been an Apple guy since I was a kid. I was 6 years old. My dad brought home an Apple II. This was like 1978. So these were one of the first ones off the, out of the factory. I still have the red manual. In fact, I still have the Apple II in my living room.
No kidding.
On display. Yeah. And the thing still works. I tested it about 3 or 4 years ago, and it boots up, and, you have to find a really old TV to plug it into, but otherwise the thing works great. But, it was a dream of mine to cover Apple, because I believe that the company does things in ways that a lot of other companies don't. I believe that there's a real passion for the product and the values of the company, that, you make good products and the money will follow. I think that's an admirable aspirational goal for every company, really. At the same time, I mean, they like all of us, we all have aspirations and goals. We don't always live up to them. We don't always execute perfectly. So I found that I could be critical, but be helpful at the same time. And so I really enjoyed that. But it was always my secret pleasure to kind of read joystick. And I always wanted to get more game reviews on Tua and whatnot. But, until iOS happened, obviously the Macs were I mean, goodness, redheaded stepchild isn't derogatory enough to say how games were treated on the Mac platform.
Right.
It really was just a backwater. And so, I built a PC. It's the first time I think in 10 years that I built a PC. It's the first time, at least in 6 years, that I really owned a PC. So this, Windows, last time I really used Windows day in, day out was around Vista. So I've missed out on a bunch of stuff that I'm relearning. And it's scary in one way because you're doing this whole
Right.
different thing that people don't know you for. It would have been very easy for me to slip into doing more Apple stuff. But I have a real passion for the craft of making games because I also did filmmaking for a while. And it's
That's
sort
what I
of a
mean, though.
similar
That's what I'm
thing.
talking about. Like, you've done everything. You've done a little bit of
Yeah.
everything. And every time I see you, you're like, oh, right after this, I got to go. We're filming this thing over here, and then I got to write this piece. And I'm traveling. I'm in a car. I'm driving over here. I mean, it seems like part of your thing that really energizes you is being involved in a lot of different things. But they all seem to have this kind of thread. Like, whenever you say, oh, I'm doing this thing, like somehow to me, if someone else were to say it, I'd be like, how can you be doing A and B? But in your case, it all seems to fit together. How do you like manage all of your different pursuits and all these different things that you're doing all at the same time? It seems crazy.
Yeah, that is the trickiest part because a lot of these things are very time intensive. I've had to take a step back from performing magic, for instance, because it's very time intensive with practicing and routining and it's I do stand-up comedy. That's a lot easier because you can pretty much just get up and start running your mouth. But you try to do that with magic, impromptu and improv magic is very difficult unless you really have your stuff together. You know what it is? I remember the slide that Jobs put up that was that road sign that was the intersection of technology and liberal arts.
Right.
And that is maybe one of my favorite slides ever in any presentation because that's sort of my life. I see technology and the arts as two sides of the same coin. And I believe that there's so much to be enabled in art through technology, but also there's so much for technology to learn from art. And that has been the constant thread in my life is really trying to merge those two things.
That's really cool, and that's such an interesting way to put it. I think when people are out there today, it seems like, especially in the workforce or whatever, it almost seems like harder to be doing just like one thing. Like when you come out of school, you've learned a thing. You kind of you're like, oh, I've taken classes in this, and I'm qualified, I think, to go and start on this career. But I don't really know anybody right now who sort of has that singular focus that I think in my parents, but certainly my grandparents' days, they had some very specific thing that they did, and they did that for pretty much their whole career. And now I think you are certainly not the norm, but somebody with these multiple kinds of interests who are there saying, you know what? Yeah, I do some writing, and I also, I make movies, and I do games, and I'm a stand-up comic. Like, that's almost more normal than to be like, I'm an electrical engineer. Oh, what else do you do? Electrical engineering. Like that almost seems like the rare thing today. Why do you think we have this trend now? Is it just people being exposed to different things more than they used to be? What?
No, I think a big part of it's the shifting workplace and shifting expectations. My dad just retired last year from 35 years working at Eastman Chemical. And yeah, he was a chemical engineer, PhD chemical engineer from NC State, went straight into this job, worked it his entire life, and then retired. He retired a little bit early.
And that's like, that's the norm, that was the norm for a long time. I used to tell my grandfather especially, like, I got a new job. He's like, how can you have a new job? You've only been there for 6 months. I'm like, well, yeah, the job sucked. I got a new one. He's like, so what? It sucked. You stay there for 10 years and then see how it really is,
That's right. Yeah. And I think, well, you of course will remember this better than a lot of people, our parents' age maybe, that when the web became a thing, we had the internet for a long time, but the web itself, right, and HTML. And I remember I was working at a music library at my university when HTML became a thing, and we started learning HTML. And I very quickly saw that, look, this is now the you've got the taxonomy and you've got the other things of a markup language. That's the code side.
Mhm.
But now you're going to have visual artists. You're going to have designers and people who have a different skill set come in and help you. But then I also realized, but if you really want to be amazing, you're going to have both of those.
Mhm.
You're going to know the art and the science of this stuff, and you're going to be able to merge it. And, you look at people like Lauren Brichter. I mean, that's a great
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah.
Of somebody who kind of has both of those sides of the brain working in
Oh,
conjunction.
Yeah.
And just makes these amazing things. So yeah, if you're like a web designer today and you don't know any JavaScript, you're probably not that great a web designer.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you're making a really great point, and that is, I remember when there were these very, very straightforward dividing lines between what people did, even in something like web design. They would, oh, well, no, I just do stuff in Illustrator and Photoshop. And then there's another person who cuts that up into HTML, and maybe even another person who does this new thing called CSS. Like, these were all separate disciplines that usually had programmers doing HTML and programmers doing, that type of work. And you had the designer was on their Mac, running Photoshop and building these elaborate things that then would have to be cut into tiny little pieces. And that was another human that would do that task. And it's like the same thing you're saying with like JavaScript, like a hit counter on your page. Wow, we've got to hire someone to do that. And now, like you're saying, like you meet someone who's a developer in the truest sense. They're doing design, they're doing code, they're doing Java, maybe they're doing Node, maybe they know their way around Ruby on Rails or Python. It's a very, very different multiple disciplined world that we live in. And I think it's a good thing. It's more fun to talk to people about that kind of stuff.
It is a good thing. It's a great thing. And I believe that like our human potential is best realized in cross-disciplinary studies, and piecing together and putting those things together, which is, again, that's why game design is so incredibly amazing to me, because if you look at a game like GTA or Evolve, these are incredibly massive projects just in and of themselves. They're incredibly complex projects. And to create something that is both a technical achievement and an artistic achievement, and then on top of both of those things, making it quote unquote fun for people ages 12 to, 80, that's incredible. And then, factoring in all the economic realities of creating these things, because it's not just art, for art's sake or anything, it's commerce. All of that stuff is truly, I think it's like some of the most amazing stuff human beings have ever done, which sounds crazy to say about games, but it's true.
No, I mean, you think about it, you think about games in general, and the whole industry that we're in now. Again, we're seeing these lines that are getting blurred. They're getting blurred between what is a game,
Blurred lines.
Right. No, seriously though, right?
I know.
I mean, what did you spill?
Oh,
you
yeah,
spill some...
of course I did.
Okay. Like the idea of having, I remember people were talking to me a few years ago about this new thing of these kind of using gameplay to make the, websites or web experience more interesting. And, this whole thing with Cash.me that has come out, it's almost kind of fun to like give somebody $1. Like they've made that fun, how weird as that is. Like, that's cool. Like I want to find, like, how can I find an excuse to give someone $1 on Cash.me? Like that's strange. Like why do I want to give money away to someone? They give it like, but at the same time, yeah, that is kind of fun. And they're on to something with that. You go out to lunch with someone and they buy it and you give them half the lunch over this app. Like, cool, I used an app to do this and it found them because they were nearby, even though I didn't manually add them. They weren't in my address book. Like all of that stuff, it really does have its root in games and gameplay. So I think that's pretty cool. Listen, before I let you go, the main reason I brought you on was to talk about this, the new trackpad, because that's all anyone cares about. They don't care about anything else we've mentioned today. They don't care about. They just want to know about the trackpad. Have you used the new trackpad?
This is the new MacBook force feedback trackpad you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I have not.
And neither have I.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Haptics is something that I've been interested in for actually over a decade. I started studying this in 1999. I founded superpixel.com, and that was sort of one of those, trying to merge art and science and all this other crazy crap. And superpixel.com is still like my clearinghouse for everything. So you can see all the wacky stuff that I'm up to on there. But that also, we looked at real world experiences, and I'm a huge fan of, how much more can we get out of the technology to interface with us? Because we were talking about silicon and metal interacting with flesh and bone and whatnot, right? And so what can you do? I mean, we were stuck with the metaphor of the desktop and the mouse and the screen and sounds. It's like it seemed like so very limited. So I started looking into haptics many years ago, and it's interesting to me that it's just now that this stuff is really starting to take off. It's been in like high end. There've been some high end car dashboard stuff that's had haptics for a little while now.
Yeah.
It's more of a novelty than anything else, but I've played with some of those, and they're really cool. Where you can like feel a button where there was no button, and so those things I think that's subtle, but it's something that when people start using them, it's just like with the trackpad now. There's no button. It's just one big thing, and we use these gestures and whatnot. Whereas when we first started using it was kind of like, okay, I got to wrap my mind around this. Like, how is this going to work?
Yeah.
In this case, it's going to be even more seamless because there's nothing that your brain has to do to remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be triggered. It's like the Pavlov or whatever, the psychology here is that you're going to be trained very quickly. And then when you go to a trackpad that doesn't have it, you're going to be like, what the hell is this?
Well, it's the same thing with the reverse scrolling. We're also used to the reverse scrolling. Yeah. I've got a Mac that's a couple years older, and it's running an older OS 10. And like every time I go on, I'm like, oh, right. It's like Scotty. Oh, keyboards. It's like you almost feel like you're living in the past now. All of a sudden, with it's amazing how quickly some new technology comes out and how prevalent it becomes and how used to it becomes, and then how we're so quick to say, wow, that doesn't have it. That's old. That's terrible. So,
well, that's if it's done right.
If it's done right.
Keep in mind that actually Logitech had a haptic mouse a few years ago.
Oh, did they really?
Well, it didn't take off, because it was gimmicky and people had to use it. I remember it being, I did a test with it, maybe at CES or something, but where you would go to a website and it had horizontal lines, and as you moved your mouse up and down it, you could feel it hitting these bumps.
Right.
Like, that's dumb. I mean, I understand that, like, if you're visually impaired, that could be actually really fantastic. But for the average user, that's just ridiculous, right?
Right.
So there's so much of that that's just kind of dumb. Although, to be fair, also, rumble packs have been, vibrations in games have actually been around for a long time, too. So that's something that sort of cued us to this.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. Hey, listen, man, thank you so much for being here. If people want to find out more about the stuff, they go to, you're at Superpixels.
Yep.
On the internet, on Twitter. And then
Twitter.
You've got superpixels.com. Is that a good place to go? AngryDadGamer.com. We'll get these in the show notes.
Yep.
Yeah, superpixel.com. I couldn't get the singular on Twitter because there's a guy who I know in another country that got that one. But I'm superpixel.com on the internet. And then AngryDadGamer.com if you're into Twitch streaming or if you're into video games. We do 6 shows a week, and it's a lot of fun.
Love it. All right, thanks so much for being here, Victor. I appreciate it, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Dan.
Take care. Is that a polymath? Is that the term they use? If you know about a lot of things,
I think yeah.
Could you Google that since Alexa's turned off?
Polymath.
You can be Alexa for today. While you look that up, let me tell you, do you hate shopping? I do. And I think most guys hate it. And I'll tell you what.
That's all right.
You know what? That's all right. It's all right if you don't like it, because we have now 2015, actually since 2002, but I know about them in 2015, our lovely sponsor, 5-4 Club. If you don't like shopping, even if you do like shopping and you just want some really cool clothes, 5-4 Club has you covered. It doesn't matter if you're they kind of organize you into 3 different categories of human. You're either the t-shirt and jeans human, you're the dressed to impress human, or you're the business casual human. I feel like I'm more like a business casual human. But you go there and you go through this 9-step profile where you tell them kind of pick the clothes you like. They show you some samples. And it's like you have to tell them which one you know. I like that shirt. I like those jeans. I like those shoes. Profile complete. And then they start sending you clothes. Every month, for $120 worth of clothes, you pay only $60. They do that by cutting out the middleman. Exchanges are free and easy, and they send you clothes that are really, really cool. I'm still hooked on that bomber jacket. I'm sorry.
Your time to wear it is over. It's warm outside.
It was cooler today.
Yeah. Well, and it's so cold in this office.
Get54.com is the place to go. And I personally will give you $20 if you use this code. The code is Dan20off because I'm giving you 20, Dan20 off, Dan20 off. You'll save $20 off your first box. So instead of being $60 for that first month, it'll be $40. Go check them out. Get54.com. Dan20 off is a code to use. Thank you very much to them for supporting the show. I have 2 minutes.
Yes, you do.
Before I need to run next door and hit the button to get Merlin on the air. I'm not nervous about it. Doing a show with him it's great fun. It's just fun doing a show with him.
You sound depressed.
No, I mean, I'm just I'm thinking through it. It's like I never know what to expect.
Right, you go in there, you never know.
Could be anything. And seriously, like I don't know what it's going to be. We could talk about comics. We could talk about helping people. We could help people directly.
Yeah.
We could do, we could talk about the military. We could talk about movies.
It's true.
Talk about bowling. Talk about OCD.
Bathrooms.
He does not like to talk about bathrooms.
Not anymore.
Well, I think he's afraid of being typecast as the bathroom guy. I don't mind that.
You're okay being the bathroom guy?
I didn't.
Okay.
Is that the title you're going to pick?
Bathroom guy.
Yeah, all right. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Dan.
Thanks. And thanks again for being here, Hattie. I appreciate it. I know it's a big time commitment for you to be here. And thanks to all of you for listening to the show today or watching the show. We really do appreciate that. And we're trying to make this as good as it can be because it's already the best, but that doesn't mean it can't get better. So please tune in and watch the video and let us know how we're doing. We've made some changes. I would love to get your input on it. And again, I implore, is that the right word? Implore? I implore you.
Yes.
Which is like a nice way to say I'm begging you to go and rate the show on iTunes. You don't even have to rate it if that's too much time. Rate it, just click. You don't have to leave a review. Just go in there and I think personally, it's a 5-star show, I think. So go and give it 5 stars.
You might be a little biased.
If you feel it's deserving of 5 stars, but go to iTunes, subscribe in iTunes, also really good, but give it a rating. If you haven't, take 2 minutes, take 30 seconds to go and give it a rating. It really helps the show. Tweet me. I am at Dan Benjamin. You can find this episode at danbenjamin.com/dbh/14. That's where the show notes will be. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time. See you then. All right. Goodbye, video people.